Hare Krishna. Namaskar. As promised, or as I already told, that I will try to make small videos of 15-20 minutes each, once in 10-12 days. So, in today's video, basically, I will be giving in detail and the reasons for few points which I already mentioned in one video just few days back called Karna, a blessing in my life. So, same points I will be repeating, but with a bit explanation why, how, when, a bit details. So before we go ahead, because I am from the background of ISKCON, and in that we have mentioned, we refer to the scriptures of Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. So I would like to give their references. In Srimad Bhagavatam, in first canto, first chapter, shloka number 10, a famous shloka which tells, Prayena alpayusha kalo asmin yuge jana mandasu manda matayo manda bhagyahi upadhrita. So in that shloka, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, in Kali Yuga the duration of life is shortened, not so much because of insufficient food, but because of irregular habits. By keeping regular habits and eating simple food, any man can maintain his health. Overeating, over-sense gratification, over-dependence on another's mercy, and artificial standards of living sap the very vitality of human energy. Therefore, the duration of life is shortened. Also in Bhagavad Gita, we have heard a famous shloka from 6th chapter, Yuktahar viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapna abodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. Meaning, basically, one who is regulated again in his eating and recreation and in his daily routine, in his sleep and wakefulness, he can perform yoga without dukkha, without misery. Also, one last reference, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Acharya in Gaudiya Parampara, says that a sadhak should first take care of his health, then sadhana, and then prachar. So he has given it so much importance. Certainly we have to do sadhana and prachar, but that's what Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said. So now, even after we understand it, the most important question comes, how to do this? What exactly is regulated eating, regulated lifestyle? What is yukta ahar, yukta vihar? So to begin with, so basically Krishna has told something in Bhagavad Gita, yukta ahar viharasya. In Srimad Bhagavatam it has been said, prayena alpayusha, very short-lived, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur says we should take care of our health, but they have not explained in detail how. And for that we have to refer to the Ayurveda book. Bhagavad Gita is not an Ayurveda book, it has just told us the principle. Neither is Srimad Bhagavatam, it has told us the principle. So for that, what I have seen most of the sadhakas do, they go into mental speculation. How? How? We have to refer to the right book, Ayurveda. And the first thing which is mentioned, actually I was astonished while reading the Ayurvedic books. They say the first principle of Ayurveda is to maintain the health of the healthy. And then next principle is to cure the sick. Which is diagonally opposite to what the other pathies say. Other pathies just focus on curing the sick, which is important, but none of them focus on maintaining the health of the healthy. So Ayurveda, to begin with, it tells many things in detail, and we'll also be taking up in the next sessions. So to begin with, it says Hita book and Mita book. Book means to eat. Hita means to eat which is beneficial, or in a way which is beneficial. And Mita means to eat in small quantities, not overeating. Just enough for our stomach to be full. How to understand when the stomach is full, we will be taking up in next sessions, upcoming ones. Everything is very easily possible for us. How to know that the stomach is full, we will be taking up in the next session. It's easily possible to know. What I also feel, seeing many sadhakas the world around, that since they have been practicing spiritual life, japa and tapasya for 10-15 years, somewhere down the line they have to very seriously think of restraining their senses. Yes, Lord Krishna we can offer everything, But for ourselves, we have to somewhere down the line think of restraining the senses. Somewhere. we have to at least make a sincere effort. So actually if we see about this Hita Bhuk and Mita Bhuk, we see, we have to work very hard, our duty is very consisting of hard work. We see even Maharaj Shivaji and Rani Lakshmibai, in their both biographies, it is specifically mentioned that they were both mitaharis. And they were eating very little or small quantities. Still, they were such a powerful kings and queens. So basically, we should know the whole science that how we can be properly nutritious and energetic even with the right or the little quantity of food. And especially it's very much relevant today in the age of Corona, because if we don't focus on this, our body will be very, very susceptible to all the infectious diseases and even all the unconventional diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's and like that. So it's very important that we take care and very scientifically, very Ayurvedic, with all the principles of Ayurveda, give focus and attention to maintain our body. The first and foremost, I know many people will, after hearing these talks, many people will start asking whether we should take milk or bread or this or that. Before anything else, I would like to say the most important point. Somehow that we have to see that we do it. How? That's up to you and me. We should eat only after sunrise, whenever it is in your area, and stop eating after sunset. Stop eating before sunset. This is the principle which I would say that we just cannot compromise with. Okay, I know some people, some part of the country say we have to just eat at sunset or a little bit after sunset. I would say that's the final. But we should try to arrange that we do it before sunset. Somehow or other, we manage it. Why? Nowadays people want to know why for everything. See, the digestive fire in our stomach, which is called Jatragni, is in sync with the sun, movement of sun. It starts or it is lit up, the digestive fire is lit up only when the sun rises. And with the sunset, the digestive fire goes off. So after that, if we eat, we may feel that our stomach is full. That feeling we may get, but it won't be digested. It won't be beneficial for our body in the light of nutrition and maintenance and repair and immunity. In fact, food taken after sunset or late after sunset, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 11 p.m., will be causing a great burden on the body to keep it and then digest it next day morning, and so many things, so many toxins, or we can in simple language call garbage. Because of this one wrong habit, or I would just like to summarize or say in essence, rather than going into such a description, to stress this point, even if you eat nectar after sunset, it won't be beneficial for you, rather it might be problematic. And in the opposite say, even if you eat poison in the daytime, maybe you can digest it out. This is not some atishayukti. Yes, poison maybe, we don't try to eat poison. But if you eat anything, the best food in the world after sunset, it is going to become toxic or garbage in your body. So please, we have to try to avoid it. Many of you may think, no, I want to change. And while changing, for the first 2-3, see, by nature, the body cycle means it doesn't eat after sunset. But because we have this wrong habit of eating after sunset for years together, in the first 2-3 days, we will feel little difficulty and we will feel little hungry at 8:30, 9 or our regular time of dinner. That time you can just, for first 2-3 days, till the body gets adjusted, you can just take some small fruit or like popcorn or kurmura or puffed rice, or there is rajgira which is also puffed up, some light food. And what does toxins mean? Toxins means a garbage, and that garbage goes and just gets deposited in our body. When it gets deposited in the knees, it becomes knee pain. That garbage will go to various places and create diseases. So when we eat after sunset, we may call it toxins, we may call it garbage or anything that is going to create disturbance in our body. And body has to work hard to remove that. So basically that is the first principle. And as I said, I will just give one small example and move ahead. of those who have seen it, they know. Now in India, in many villages, some household those who eat non-veg, they have hens in their home. But they don't tie it down. The hens are in their home and they are open. In the daytime they move around in the garden, they eat something. And then in the night they come in the balcony of that house and they sleep. Veranda or balcony, whatever you call it, and they sleep. But in present day India or all over the world, there are big poultry farms. You might see sometimes you travel on the road. Along the road there are big poultry farms, long buildings. Especially in the night we can see them with many bright lights. So what happens, these hens which are in the household in their natural free way, the moment the sun sets, you see most of the birds, most of the animals, the moment the sun sets, they stop eating. And the sunrise, the birds and the animals, they get up and they start moving around to eat. But what happens? And such hens, they never face any health issues because they only follow these two principles. One principle I told, eating between sunrise and sunset and working for eating. The hens in the village, home, they move around in the garden, they run here, they run there, they scratch the earth, they have to find out their food, they have to work. So two principles we follow, we will get no disease. Eating between sunrise and sunset and working for eating. We have to follow these two principles. On the other side, in the poultry farm, if we see, the hens are cramped up, they have no space to move around, they don't have to work also. They just stand there and the food is there in front of it. They just have to peck and eat. And especially in these poultry farms, what they do, as soon as the sun is about to set, they cover up all the windows and the open areas with either shutters or curtains. And they light up very bright lights in the poultry farms. If you see in the night time traveling on the road, you see big poultry farms along the road and they are all brightly lit in the night time. The lights are not put off throughout the night. So the hen doesn't understand when the sun is set. Because of bright light, they keep on eating. And because of that, they become 50% obese or overweight. And just because of these two, there are only two differences of habits in these two types of hens. One household village hen, one poultry farm hen. One difference of habits is eating between sunrise and sunset. And second difference of habit is working for eating. These poultry farms, they eat throughout day and night and they don't work to eat. What happens? The hens in the poultry farms become 50% overweight. In 45 days, if the village hen is 1.5 kg, the poultry farm hen will become 2.5 kg. 20 is established statistics in the world. 20% of hens in the poultry farm, they die because of heart attacks. And because today's human have also accepted such a mistakes of eating after sunset and a very sedentary life, not working for eating. 20% of humans also die out of heart attack. Very simple. So basically these are two very important principles. There are a few more points to this example of poultry farm hens, but I won't go into that today. Then, especially those who are not as a labor class, means those who don't have to work for 8 to 10 hours in the field very hard. I would like, okay, that labor class difference, these are the common principles. Any class, any working man or woman, sunrise to sunset is a common principle. Next principle is also common. So I will not separate the labor class and the non-labor class. This is a common. Next principle is also common for both. See, just like in any industry, there is 8-hour shifts. We work for 8 hours and then it's off. Maximum 10 hours, including the lunch time and like that. Similarly, in our body there are two things that are working. The Pran Shakti, the living energy in our body has to do two things. One is to digest the food, and second is to maintain the body, to repair the body, to throw away the toxics and the garbage, and in that way to increase the immunity of the body. So basically the nature says 12 hours for digesting, Pran Shakti should give 12 hours for maintenance. But that will happen only when we eat food only in 8 to 9 hours time. Because suppose, what I want to say, the second principle is, even between sunrise and sunset, the solid food intake span should be 8 to 9 hours. Ideally 8 hours. That means if you take the first solid food at 8 am, then the last solid food should be by 4 pm. Sorry. Or if you take the first solid food by 9 am, the last solid food should be by 5 pm. For those who work in industry and different job timing, as a compromise, not a allowed principle, as a compromise, maximum 9 to 10 hours. After 8 hours or as a compromise 9 to 10 hours, we should not have solid food. Very clear. So even if we take by 10 hours law, which is a compromise, if we have the first solid food by 8 am, the last should be by 6 pm. Why? Because when you take the last food at, say, I go for the 8 hours, the ideal timing. If you eat at, say, 9 am, the morning solid food, and the evening solid food if you take by 5 pm. Because after 5 pm, 3 to 4 hours are required for digesting it. So that means if you eat by 5 pm, that digestion will be over by 9 pm. So 12 hours, 9 am to 9 pm, we give for digestion, the Pran Shakti can give for digestion. And the next 12 hours, 9 pm to 9 am, the Pran Shakti can give for repair, maintenance, removing the toxics. It's proved biologically. That I will take up the next session. That for the body to be toxic free, in simple language, garbage free, and body to be healthy, all the cells and organs to be repaired and maintained at the the climax, the best position, we have to stop eating after a certain time. So having said that, to simplify the principle, first to eat between sunrise and sunset, second to have solid foods only in an 8-hour time span in the daytime, as a compromise for those who find it very practically impossible, maybe 9 hours or 10 hours, but not more than that. It's simply foolish if we go beyond that. I would again give an example before we move ahead, because how these both things cannot happen. And the example is of a car, not car, highway and cars moving on the highway. Suppose there is a highway or any road and the cars are continuously moving. And suppose if you want to repair the road, then we have to stop the car. We have to stop the movement of the cars. And then only the road can be repaired. Similarly, in our body, if we are just eating continuously or eating day, night, late night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, again we get up in the morning, we start eating again, and again every 2-3 hours we pop up something in the mouth, maybe little bit, so one laddu, one chocolate, one sandwich. If we keep on popping up, then the cars are always moving. And then when the repair will happen, the body, there is no time and energy for the Pran Shakti to repair. It's just always taking care of the digestion. So, just like the highway needs to be closed for repair, maintenance and improvement, our body digestion needs to be closed. So 12 hours digestion, 12 hours maintenance. And that is possible only when we eat in an 8-hour or 9-hour span in the daytime. That is very important principle. It's common to all. I know to adjust to this schedule, which is actually natural and good for our body, first 2-3 days there will be some problem. Those who are especially used to eat late night, 9 pm, 10 pm. First 2-3 days, maximum 4 days they have to adjust and tolerate a bit. But once the body is adjusted, after 3-4 days the body won't feel hungry at the wrong time, because that is not the nature of the body to feel. Nature of the body is to stop after sunset. And another principle, even after that, 8 hours time gap, is to eat only when hungry. Some people ask, or some people recommend one should drink 2 liters of water daily, 4 liters of water. No. I will be doing another session called Body Speaks. In that I will tell body tells us when we feel thirsty, drink water. How much water? Whatever amount we have the thirst. When the thirst is quenched, stop. Some people will feel more thirsty, some people will feel less thirsty. In the summer will feel more thirsty, winter less thirsty. Just drink the amount of water which the body requires and which the body asks for it. And similarly, just don't eat because it is time to eat. Or just don't eat because I have not eaten for such a long time. Eat only when we are thoroughly hungry. That is when we are thoroughly hungry. I have met almost so many people in the world. They have never experienced thorough hunger because they always keep on eating. So how they are going to experience thorough hunger? So eat only when hungry. Eat as much as you are hungry. Similarly about drinking. Drink water only when thirsty, as much as you are thirsty. I will just take up two small principles before I end. One principle is water we eat should be in complete natural condition. It should not it should be minimum processed, because we know this shloka of Ishopanishad. Om Purnamadha Purnamidam Purnam Purnat Ujjatyate Purnat Purnasya Adaya Purnam Evava Shishyate. This world is complete and perfect, and whatever the Supreme Lord, I call it Krishna, has made it is complete and perfect. We should actually not try to disturb the food as Krishna has given us. Like fruits, eat them full, rather than some packed juice. Or grains, eat them in natural form which they are. Don't process or polish it. Any grains. Actually, Lord Shri Krishna or the nature is so intelligent. First thing is, we remove some things foolishly, because 80 to 90% of people are eating polished rice which appears to be very white. What they do in the process of polishing, they remove the cover of the rice, the skin, what we may call it skin or cover. And they say after that the rice looks very white. But in that, the way the nature has given us the rice, we are disturbing that. Two problems happen over there. When we don't take the food in the full form, two problems happen. One is, like in the case of example of rice, the nutrition of rice is inside, I agree. But how to digest that rice, the enzymes required to digest that rice are in the cover. So if you remove the cover and eat only rice, it won't be digested. And many people I know in India, they call, if I eat rice, my weight grows, because the rice is not digested, because you have removed the enzymes required for digestion that were in the cover. So please go for unpolished rice. It may not look white, but it will be easily digested by the body. If you eat unpolished rice cooked in a vessel, not in a cooker, it's not possible that the rice will increase your weight. It's just simply not possible. Why not to cook in the cooker? Another topic, some other time. But if anyone in this world eats rice which is unpolished and which is cooked in a vessel, not in a cooker, his weight cannot increase because of rice. So that is one example, but it's the same thing about vitamins, about fruits and everything. What people do, or what the technology is trying to do, they say, oh, this avla, this has a lot of vitamin C. So they extract vitamin C and put in the pouch. But that way it is not going to be helpful. Vitamin C in the avla only will be absorbed by the body, assimilated by the body, and that vitamin C will reach the right places in the body. If we disturb the whole food, then it won't be beneficial. Because one thing I mentioned, that food requires some digestive enzymes and they are put up with that food. It may be rice, maybe avla or anything. Another very interesting fact is there when we eat the whole food. You see, okay, we are eating the right type of nutrition. As I said, vitamin C pouch and avla. One thing is, to digest vitamin C, the enzymes are present in the avla, in the pouch they won't. Another thing is, even though we eat, say, any nutritious food, highly nutritious food, that nutrition should go to the right place in the body. And And the nature, we may call it in simple language, if you have envelope, a letter, for the envelope to go to the right place, there should be address on it. So what the nature has done in the whole food, it has put up the address and also the digestive enzymes. So when we disturb the whole food, what we do, first we remove the digestive enzymes or we burn them off, and with every nutrition there is a address put, which tells us when the nutrition goes in the body, whether it should go to the knee or to the muscles or to the bones or to the eyes or to the ears. So nutrition goes in our body, but if there is no address or if address is half, the nutrition won't go to the right place. It will be confused. Just like if you get a letter, because I am in India, Ratnagiri, I am speaking it over here. If you get a letter and if you just say, hey, like Mr. XYZ Ratnagiri, that's a half address. The letter may have a check of 10 lakh rupees, but it won't reach its destination because the address is half. Or if I just say, Dhanalakshmi Plaza, ABC Road, but no name and no town, postman will be confused where I have to deliver the letter. Yes, the letter has a check of 10 lakh rupees, but it won't reach its destination because the address is improper or address is burnt off. So when we process the food, what we do is we disturb the address, we burn off the address, and then even though we might be eating the nutritious food, but it won't reach the right place in our body. So another principle is keep the food as close to nature as possible and eat it in that form. Avoid as much transformation, as less as transformation as possible. So this brings me to the next point, which will be the last point in today's session. That is, eat living food. What is living food? Living food is very simple. Anything, if you put in soil or if you like put in water like sprouts, when life comes out of it, that is living food. And when life doesn't come out of it, that is not living food. So all the fruits, all the vegetables, they are living. If you put them in the ground, something new plant or new tree will come out. Like for example, the wheat is living because if you put that wheat into soil, the wheat grass and the wheat plant will come up. So eat the food that is living. The cooked food, rice, dal, sabji, roti, bhakari. What Bhagavad Gita and Ayurveda says, when you cook the food, it should be eaten only within maximum 3 hours of cooking. After that it becomes dead. So the principle is, if you cook the food, eat it as early as possible after cooking. 3 hours is the maximum time frame, but I would recommend anything between half hour and 1 hour. When you cook, eat it within half hour to 1 hour. That's the best. 3 hours allowed. Beyond that, it becomes dead. And dead food cannot give us life. It will just increase the toxins or the garbage in simple language, in technical language, toxins in our body. So ideally we should try to eat as less cooked food as possible. And like frying food, if you fry something, it may be even shay or chakli or anything, vada or samosa. See, when we boil or when we roast, when we make roti, the temperature is only 50, 60, 70 degrees. When we boil, it goes maximum till 100 degrees. But when we fry, the temperature goes till 150 and 170 degrees. And in that degree, the nutrients are burnt and the addresses are also burnt. And the digestive enzymes are also burnt. So, dead food, no problem. There is no point in eating fried and deep fried food, it's a dead one. Minimum simple rice, dal, sabji, roti, bhakri, if we cook that within 3 hours, if we can make it within 1 hour, that's best. So, before we end, let me check out if something is, I would just like to say, you may find these are too many principles, too difficult, but these are which will make our body in a very different state of existence. If you follow this even for 1 month or even for 15 days, but properly, scrupulously, perfectly, completely, then you will feel such a energy and such a life in your body, and many of your old diseases getting reversed within 15 days you will experience. So there are many more details to this, much more information to be given. But as I said, I will keep every video within 15, 20, 25 minutes. So for today I end here. If you have any questions, I will be giving my email address after this. You can send over here and I will try to reply by email. Hare Krishna.